I get it scrolling through endless listings. Every robot vacuum promises a hands-free spotless floor, but when the box finally arrives you end up with a noisy robot that bumps into walls, leaves streaks, or needs constant tinkering. That moment of disappointment is why I'm doing this deep dive on the eufy Omni C20 paired with the Omni S2 dock. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent a week setting this bundle up in a 2-bedroom apartment, a home office, and a small kitchen, and I'm going to tell you exactly what it does right, where it trips up, and who should actually press by now versus who should keep their manual mop. First off, the big selling point of the Omni line is the all-in-one promise, a robot that vacuums, mops, and even empties its own dustbin without you lifting a finger. The C20 unit rolls out with a side brush array and a rotating mop pad, while the S2 station houses a self-cleaning water tank, a high-capacity dustbin, and a charging dock. In theory, you set it once and walk away, but the reality hinges on how those pieces fit into everyday life. Setup was surprisingly straightforward. You unpack the robot, attach the mop pad, fill the water tank, and place the S2 dock in a corner with easy access to a power outlet. The app walked me through Wi-Fi pairing and calibrated the room map in about 10 minutes. The only hiccup was that the dock needs a clear 3-foot radius on at least 2 sides. Cramped hallways or furniture that blocks the sides will force the robot to park elsewhere, which can be a nuisance if you're tight on space. Once the mapping was done, the C20 started its first cleaning cycle. The navigation felt confident. It used a combination of LiDAR and visual sensors to glide past the coffee table, avoid the cat's toy, and glide under the low kitchen cabinets without getting stuck. In a house with mixed flooring, hardwood in the living room, tile in the kitchen, and low-pile carpet in the bedroom, the robot adjusted its suction automatically. On carpet it pulled up a decent amount of dust, and on tile it left the floor noticeably cleaner than a quick sweep with a broom. The mopping function is where the Omni really tries to differentiate itself. The S2 station heats the water to a mild temperature and releases a fine mist onto the mop pad. In the kitchen, the robot did a respectable pass over a dried-out spill of cereal milk. The pad lifted the residue without leaving a puddle. However, on a sticky jam spill, the mop struggled to break down the grime, and I had to run a second pass with a manually wrung-out pad. The bottom line: the mop works well for light, everyday messes, but it's not a substitute for a dedicated scrubbing mop when dealing with hardened food or grease. One of the hidden trade-offs is the maintenance cycle. The S2 dock's self-emptying bin holds about a month's worth of dust for a modest household, but the bin still needs to be emptied once the indicator flashes. The water tank, meanwhile, can hold roughly a liter of water, which translates to a handful of mopping runs before you have to refill. If you plan on daily mopping, you'll be refilling the tank every other day. The robot also requires the mop pad to be washed after a few uses. The pads are reusable but need a quick rinse to avoid odor buildup. Noise level is another practical point. During vacuum mode, the C20 sits at a moderate 58 dB, noticeable but not shouting. When the mop engages, the motor's hum drops a bit, making it a little quieter. I was comfortable leaving it on while watching a movie, though the occasional whir can be heard if you're sitting very close. For light sleepers, setting the robot to run while you're out of the house is the safest bet. Battery life holds up for a typical 120-minute run, which comfortably covers my 1,800-square-foot floor plan in a single pass. The robot automatically returns to the S2 dock when the battery dips low, then resumes where it left off after recharging. This resume feature is a lifesaver if you have a larger home or if you've scheduled cleaning during a short window. Now, who should consider buying this bundle? If you're a busy professional who works from home, have a small pet, and want a set-and-forget solution for light daily messes, the Omni C20 Plus S2 gives you more automation than most competitors. The automatic dustbin emptying and water tank management cut down the chores you'd otherwise do every week. Families with toddlers who generate a lot of crumbs and occasional spills will also appreciate the dual functionality, as long as you're okay with doing a quick mop pad rinse after a few runs. On the other side, if you live in a larger house with multiple floors, thick carpet, or you frequently deal with heavy kitchen grease, you might find the C20's cleaning power underwhelming. The robot's suction is adequate for everyday dust but can't pull up larger pet hair clusters or deep embedded dirt the way a